Today we're heading out on a scenic flight over Kakadu National Park, which has been on my bucket list for many years. Taking off to the east, we see the Ranger uranium mine, which is currently in its rehabilitation stage. Ranger is an open-cut mine which commenced producing uranium oxide in 1981, although its regulatory approval required it to cease mining in 2012. It will continue processing stockpiles of uranium ore until 2021, but the company must complete environmental restoration by 2026. As we continue heading east, the escarpment bordering the Arnhem Plateau looms into view. The escarpment rises over 300 metres above the surrounding plains and runs for many kilometres from the northeast edge of the Kakadu National Park and south towards Katherine. Muggler Creek has its source on the Arnhem Plateau and flows for over 30 kilometres before joining the East Alligator River. Many years ago, most of Kakadu was covered by Mesozoic seas, which eroded the older sandstones in the area into sea cliffs and islands, which now form the escarpment and the many other fascinating rock formations. The natural history of the region, as well as its archaeological and geological significance, has led to Kakadu National Park being World Heritage listed for both cultural and natural history significance. In addition to the sites displaying rock art which are open to tourists in the national park, there have been amazing archaeological discoveries in rugged and inaccessible areas across the Arnhem Plateau. The plateau is ancient sandstone which has become extremely hard. The many years of weathering and erosion have produced a broken stony landscape which has limited vegetation in places due to the removal of any loose matter by rains in the annual monsoon season. As we fly along a broad valley with sheer walls, we are amazed at the gorges which have been eroded away in the rock by the action of immense volumes of water. Many of these cliffs have magnificent waterfalls flowing after periods of good rains in the monsoon season. In places such as this, fault lines have moved to form long depressions seemingly stretching out to the horizon. We are now following the East Alligator River, which is one of the 4 major river systems in the Kakadu National Park and forms the northeastern park boundary. Saltwater crocodiles abound in these river systems, and these were mistaken for alligators when the area was first explored by Philip Parker King in 1820. As a result, he named the East, West and South Alligator rivers, and they have retained these names to this day. King was the first English navigator to enter the region, although previous visits to the region are believed to have been made by Chinese, Malays and Portuguese before the first written accounts by the Dutch in the 17th century. The Macassan people from Sulawesi are known to have been regular visitors to the north of Australia to harvest sea cucumbers amongst other items, and they sought the assistance of the local Aboriginal people in this activity. Some evidence of the Macassan culture has been found in artefacts in the Kakadu area. The traditional owners of Arnhem Land were the Yolngu people, and this is the area where the famous didgeridoo originated. In the Kakadu area, the traditional owners are the Bining Ngungri people. These peoples had distinct languages which were native to those living in the plateau and lowlands areas. Following the settlement of Darwin, much of the lowlands population died out due to violence and introduced diseases. It is estimated that the population may have been decimated by more than 95% of their number. The peoples of the Sandstone Plateau beyond the escarpment had a much better survival rate due to their greater isolation. We are approaching the area where the East Alligator River leaves the plateau and makes its way into the wetlands, which contain the abundance of bird and animal life that Kakadu is also famous for. we pass over the top of some small islands, including Ubiri Rock, which are remnant outcrops of the sandstone plateau. Ubiri is famous for its rock art, which is many thousands of years old. We have just passed over the road to Gunbalanya, which continues on to Nhulunbuy and the Coburg Peninsula on the eastern side of Arnhem Land. Formerly known to the settling Europeans as Owen Pelly, the area was the site of a cattle station established in 1909 before being converted to a mission station in 1925. The mission continued to operate until 1975, when responsibility was transferred to an Aboriginal town council and the name changed back to Gunbalanya. The floodplains we are flying over have been built up from sand and silt which has gradually eroded from the Arnhem Plateau. They are subject to dramatic seasonal changes and are a major staging point for millions of migratory birds. Following wet season rains, a shallow freshwater sea spreads out for hundreds of square kilometres, creating an explosion of bird and animal populations. As the floodplains gradually dry out, the remaining water birds and crocodiles seek refuge in the more permanent wetlands in the region. As we head back to Jabiru, we are crossing Manang, or Mugilla Plain, which the Mugilla Creek flows through before joining the East Alligator River. The creek has no distinct channel as it crosses the plain, and in the dry season may be reduced to a series of waterholes. Jabiru is the major town providing services to the Kakadu National Park and was established in 1982 to support the Ranger uranium mine. Since the rise of visitors' numbers to the Kakadu area, its services have grown to include a range of tourism and accommodation options, including the Mercure Kakadu Crocodile Hotel, which is built in the shape of a very large crocodile. After a bit over an hour in the air, we make our final approach to the Jabiru airstrip and complete our circuit. As we touch down fairly smoothly, I celebrate the completion of another item on my bucket list. Money well spent.